This is the opensource.club, a free St. Louis-focused knowledge share podcast. Through industry experts, entrepreneurs, personal stories, and more, we provide the information you need to achieve and thrive. Always visit our website, theopensource.club, for more details. Contact us on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. HVAC. What does this abbreviation mean? Specifically, HVACR stands for heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigeration. It refers to the different systems, machines, and technologies used for indoor settings of homes, offices, transportation systems, or anything that requires the environmental regulation to improve comfort. The HVAC industry is huge, and over the next decade it will become even larger. I'm your host, Dick Hewlett, and this is a feature about HVAC jobs and training. On the other side of this upcoming message, I'll introduce you to Kelly Jones, who will tell you all about it. As a proud supporter of the men and women who make this country great, Chuck's Boots is proud to offer the largest selection of American-made, union-made work boots in the Midwest. Over 70,000 pairs of boots in stock every day. Stop by today and see why Chuck's is the only place to go for all your work boot needs. Chuck's Boots, located in Fenton and St. Peters, Missouri.
Chuck's Boots, never leave my feet.
Gateway Air Conditioning Contractors Executive Director Kelly Jones is here with me today. For nearly 14 years, Jones has led the Mechanical Trade Association that consists of heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigeration contractors. Welcome, Kelly.
Hi, thank you.
Glad you're here. Well, here come the questions. The association has 4 objectives. Can you clarify each of them?
Yeah, so the first objective is the government relations objective. And first, I need to preface this by saying this is a very highly regulated industry. And I am really grateful for the opportunity to share what the typical consumer may not be aware of. Before these professionals enter your home or workspace, there are so many behind-the-scenes questions that need to be answered. For instance, what codes is this jurisdiction working under? And the codes are all over the board. 2009, 2015, 2018, just to name a few. And in addition to that, what code changes has that jurisdiction put in place via code amendments? Am I required to pull a permit? What credentials are required of my company and my technicians? So my colleagues and I, we go to a lot of meetings to understand what the individual area governments are requiring and then updating our contractors so they can flex to those changes. And in addition to that, when a question comes up, contractors, they'll call me, and if I don't know the answer, I'll ask the question to the jurisdictions and get back to them. We do our best to help our contractors not spin their wheels. They're incredibly busy, and we are here to support the work that they do. So one of the other objectives is licensing expertise. So just people may not be aware, but licensing is a moving target depending on where you're working. And I'm going to give you kind of a high-level overview. It will not be exhaustive whatsoever. So in the metropolitan area, there are 6 major licensing jurisdictions, and they represent a variety of licensing models. You have St. Charles County, St. Charles City, Jefferson County, Arnold, St. Louis City, and St. Louis County. The first 3 on that list, St. Charles County, St. Charles City, Jefferson County, have a contractor model. And what I mean by that, you have one person in the company that has the license, and everyone works underneath them. The next 2 I'll talk about is St. Louis City and St. Louis County. So they absolutely have a contractor license requirement, but then they also require individual licenses. So the rule of thumb is that if this job requires a permit, it requires a license in your pocket of everyone on that job site. So that would be a journeyman license or an apprentice license. And they take the additional step then of separating those individual licenses by occupation. So you have an HVAC license, pipe fitter, and sheet metal. Those are the licenses that I help work with our contractors underneath mechanical. So that, again, is something that's going to be triggered if a permit is required, and that is going to be both on the journeyman side and the apprentice side. Now, the last one on the list is Arnold, and they're inside Jefferson County, and they have their own licensing model. They have a contractor license, and they have an individual license. But that individual license is a one-size-fits-all. So it's not broke out by occupation, but every job requires the individual license. So in a nutshell, there are a lot of moving pieces, and we're here to help assist the contractors if they have any questions about licensing. And if we can't answer it right off the bat, we'll find someone who can.
Sounds like you do the heavy lifting, so we don't have to.
I am here to help them so they can just go to work.
Oh, man.
So then we have apprenticeship. And we have a Department of Labor apprenticeship program. For our association, we have our standards, and then each of our contractors have an individual program which rolls up under our standards, our umbrella for that. And the beautiful thing about a Department of Labor program is that it's structured and it walks apprentices through from the beginning of their apprenticeship to completing their apprenticeship. Every DOL program has two components: on-the-job training, which is what you do every day in the field, and related instruction, which is the academic piece. And then the fourth objective that we have is the continuing education and just education in general. And of course, education's paramount to anybody being successful at anything that they do.
And you're in a field where everything is changing all the time. Technology is so widely different.
You got it. So with this particular field, you need to understand those exact changes. So we have a lot of training partners, and especially those manufacturer-based training partners who update technicians on the equipment, troubleshooting, installations, etc. And then we also have regular safety and OSHA classes to also keep that top of mind. And then for the business side, for the contractors, we have our regular meetings, which have everything from insurance to human resources to business planning, and then a couple of leadership conferences. So we have a well-rounded approach to training.
Being an HVAC guy is pretty complicated, apparently.
It is a highly skilled profession, absolutely.
We're going to break for a message, and after that, we're going to talk about the depth of the HVAC industry. And as you've alluded, it's larger than most people think. We'll be right back.
If your saving for retirement strategy involves the phrase, "I'll get around to it someday," we need to talk. Hi, I'm Edward Jones Financial Advisor, Stephen Steele. When it comes to meeting your goals, time can be on your side. And there's no better time than now to get started toward your retirement goals. Stop by our office at 6451 Clayton Road or call 314-721-0773. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC.
Kelly Jones is our guest. Kelly, what is the forecast for HVAC jobs over the next few years?
There aren't enough adjectives to adequately express the need we're going to have for technicians. But simply put, it's extremely positive. And I base that both on my own experience talking with dozens and dozens of contractors who are always asking me if I know of anyone who needs a job or who has experience or anybody who might want to go to work for them. And then also the statistics put out by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which falls under the Department of Labor. While there are currently more than 250,000 HVACR technicians in the country today, we do know by the studies of the Bureau of Labor Statistics that we will be short 115,000 technicians by 2022. Now, let's bring that closer to home. That 115,000 number represents expected national growth. When you look at long-term projections, so we're going to push this out to 2026, in the area of percent employment change, which indicates how fast employment is expected to increase, Missouri outpaces the national percent by 3 percentage points. So we will have a 17.1% employment change by 2026. So in a nutshell, what that's saying to us is that HVACR technicians will be in high demand.
Wow. How can it possibly be that many jobs?
It is a combination of anticipated industry growth and estimated retirement rate.
Well, where are all these jobs needed? Is it just buildings or houses or?
Everywhere you've mentioned you would normally think of, your home, your workspace, but we are everywhere. Go to the convenience store, grab a soda out of the cooler, we keep it cold. Go to the hospital, you need a sterile environment with clean air, that's us. Go to the Blues game. Watch them win on the ice. The ice wouldn't exist without us. So pretty much anywhere you go, we've gone before.
You mentioned the skater's ice for the Blues hockey team. I guarantee you that listeners to this podcast have just been knocked off their heels. You know, you don't ever think about that aspect of that particular game.
Right. Pretty key aspect, though.
Well, we see and understand home and office systems, but we don't naturally think of the convenience store, refrigeration, sports arenas. But I'm beginning to understand it a little bit more. There's so many jobs out there. What is your job recruitment process?
Well, we're the trade association, so we have more than 125 contractors and manufacturers. So that would be on a contractor by contractor basis. I recommend using your technical college's placement services, as I'm sure contractors are calling the technical colleges looking for potential hires, and then checking the traditional job posting sites.
We'll post your career video on our website, which is www.theopensource.club. And after this break, we will be back and we'll talk about skill sets.
Chronic pain, sleep disorders, anxiety, depression, seizures, and more can be relieved with non-toxic, non-addicting, non-psychotropic CBD. Shop for medical-grade and organic edibles, tinctures, capsules, topicals, and pet products. The web address is cbdhealth.today. CBD does not contain THC, and it's legal in all 50 states. CBD is a powerful and healthy cannabis, just like medical marijuana. You don't need a prescription or license to shop online. The web address is cbdhealth.today. Regain your health naturally and safely. The web address is cbdhealth.today.
Well, Kelly, what does an HVAC technician need to know in order to perform the job?
Typical technician skills would include, but of course not limited to, it would be an exhaustive list, installing and troubleshooting equipment, of course, testing circuitry and components, calibrate all controls to manufacturer specifications, lay out, design, and install low-voltage wiring, verify compliance with codes and regulations like we've already talked about, read and interpret blueprints, solder and brace parts, perform heat load and loss calculations, and also to educate customers on energy conservation practices.
And you're here to help them all the way down the line, right?
Right.
Are you telling me this is a STEM career?
Without a doubt, this is a STEM career. From the remote connection Wi-Fi thermostat on the wall to the monitoring hub of multi-system industrial facilities, this career draws on technology, formulas to determine correctly sized systems, to reading and working from engineered plans to the safe handling of chemicals like refrigerant. This is an industry made up of highly skilled professionals, and they have to be in order to create their customers' desired environment.
I get it. What is the training process, and how long does that process take?
Well, the typical training process would include a technical college experience, which then would have supervised on-the-job training with a contractor and then getting any required certifications, such as an EPA certification. A ballpark time frame would be 4 to 5 years.
Gotcha. Tell me about your apprenticeship program.
Well, as I've said, we have a Department of Labor program, and that requires both on-the-job training and related instruction. And that will step the apprentice through the beginning of his or her skill set all the way through the completion of the process.
So I'm listening to the podcast and I'm interested in taking part in this. What's the next step for somebody listening and thinking that the HVAC career might be where they're headed?
I highly recommend to reach out to an area technical college, tour the facility, ask all the questions that you have, and of course, feel free to contact me. I will help any way I can.
Cool. We're going to post the information about the Gateway Air Conditioning Contractors Association on our website. That is www.theopensource.club. We'll take a break, and we'll be right back.
As a proud supporter of the men and women who make this country great, Chuck's Boots is proud to offer the largest selection of American-made, union-made work boots in the Midwest. Over 70,000 pairs of boots in stock every day. Stop by today and see why Chuck's is the only place to go for all your work boot needs. Chuck's Boots, located in Fenton and St. Peters, Missouri.
Chuck's boots never leave my feet.
Gateway Air Conditioning Contractors Executive Director Kelly Jones is providing some great information. And here at the OpenSource.club, we recognize that this great economy is not working for everyone. A lot of people are having a difficult time finding a good, stable job with middle-class wages. Working in the HVAC industry may just be the answer for someone. There certainly are a lot of opportunities and a variety of work that I never would have thought of: sports arenas, grocery stores, mass transit system, and the like. Everything Kelly talked about is on our website. It's www.theopensource.club. Kelly, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
We hope this Blue Labor feature has been a benefit to you, and thank you, Kelly, for your time. We thank the audience for listening. I'm your host, Dick Hewlett.
Thank you for listening to the OpenSource.Club podcast. Become a subscriber through RSS or YouTube. There's more to come that you won't want to miss. Our name is our web address, theopensource.club.